Today we are talking with Jen and Manny from Aldez Tequila. Manny has many decades in the hospitality industry, many years with the tequila industry, and he and his wife are building their own company. They're building their own tequila company, gin company, and they just launched the mezcal. Very interesting story. Power couple. Her background is marketing. He is in sales, so they complement each other, and they're doing very, very well in this agave category. So stick around and hear their story. Okay, I'm here with Jen and Manny, Aldez Tequila, plus other brands. I think before I start peppering you guys with some questions, I think the best thing to do is just tell everyone who you are and what you guys are up to these days.
Awesome. I am Jen Aczualdez, and I am one of the founders. You're looking at the two of them of Aldez Tequila, which is actually part of a portfolio of spirits that falls under our parent company that we also own called Drink Good Spirits. And so Drink Good Spirits really specializes in craft spirits from the old world, which we consider Spain, in the new world, which is Mexico, down to Argentina or Chile. And we're excited to be here with you.
Awesome.
Myself, my name is Manuel Aczualdez. My wife, Jen, we've co-founded the company. And she said everything. I mean, I don't think I can add anything else. I've been in the industry for many years, and it's great to see you, Walter. It's been a while. So yeah, we're excited to be here.
Awesome. It's really good to see you, my friend. And, I guess what I really wanted to know is me being a business owner, I work directly with my wife. I guess I'm just going to put you both on the spot right now. Tell me how it is living with somebody, working with somebody. Give me the good, the bad, the craziness. What is it like? And anyone can answer first. What is it like working directly with your spouse?
For us, have been great, and I can tell you, it's been great because we went through COVID and we're still together. It's actually make us stronger.
Yes.
So we started the company before COVID, and then we went through the COVID. We were in one place for many months. It was over a year. So for me, it was a regular transition. We do different things in the organization. I mean, she's in charge of everything related with the marketing part of the company, also design. I specialize more about the liquid, what are we going to be creating, and the commercial part of the business. So it's a perfect union the way I feel, because we have discussions about specific subjects, but we all the time come to an agreement extremely quickly, because we go in the same direction, that is develop our company and the different brands that we have.
All right. Jen, your side.
My view. Yeah, I agree. I think that we have complementary skills and we don't really overlap. So we don't really have anything to argue about, because I don't know much about the sales side or the numbers. And then he really is not real good with the marketing aspect or creative. So we bounce ideas off of each other. So probably on the downside, when you work with your partner, you never stop working. Everything is work. And so it's, trying to make sure we intentionally find time to not always be talking about spirits.
So Walter, we work part-time 7 days a week, 24 hours almost.
Yeah.
And it's normal. But the thing is, when you do something that you're passionate about, you don't feel like you work a day in your life. Right. And you hear that other people saying it, but you have to live it and go through it to understand exactly when you create something and you feel so strongly about, you don't feel like you work a day in your life. You just have difficulties like any other company, but at the same time, this is it.
That's interesting. And I remember during the pandemic, I looked at my wife too, and I was like, thank God I love you, because like this could be bad. Like this could be really bad. And we got through it, but it's like, and to your point, if you're doing something that you do love, and you do have complementary skills, like my wife, she hates the numbers, she hates the sales, but she's creative, she's artistic, like she's the one designing things. And like when you go to an Arte Agave event, it's all her that put everything together. I don't understand. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about clothing. I don't know anything about design. I'm like, just make me look good and let me go do what I do.
if Manuel started having opinions about creative, there may be issues.
Yeah,
But
and honestly, I get to a point that I tell this story of exactly what we're gonna do, and she goes, "Oh, I get it. No, don't have to tell me anything else. I already got it." And when you see all our labels and everything that we do, we just find the people that we want to engage with and work with, and she put all the creative and translate the story they want to convey to the consumers through an aspect that it's not my forte. I mean, when it comes
Yeah.
into label design, what is going to be the direction, what we want consumers to see about our story or how communicate that part is extremely important, as important as the liquid inside, as you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, I got these ideas and I got this thing that I sort of want to do. And she's like, huh? And then she starts kind of creating it and putting it into a nice little thing. I'm like, yes, that's what's in my head, what you're doing right now.
And I feel that because I mean, usually, I mean, I always like 20 step ahead when it comes into innovation and the direction of the company. And she's the only one that can understand me when it comes into, okay, I know exactly what we're going to be doing 5 years from now, 6 years from now. And to say, well, take a step back. We understand each other, but not to everybody else.
I'm
So
like, I
get
just finished the label design for the gin.
and
Now,
I'm already thinking about something else. But I mean, that's the entrepreneur life, that's the innovator's life, and
Yeah.
that's what keep us moving.
Good. It's nice to hear because I'm the same way and I try to slow down for my wife too. She's like, I'm working on this thing. I'm like, okay, well, when you're done, just
Have
one
something
we have
else.
a line of things.
just one
Yeah.
more thing, I promise, and then I'll have, yeah. So I mean, so Manny, we've known each other for quite a while, brands and brands ago. Like what for you, obviously you've been in the tequila world for a while. Jen, I don't know much of your background, but like Manny, why your own brand? Is just from the things that you've learned working for past brands, or what was your aha moment of being like, not working for tequila brands anymore, I'm going to create my own brand? Tell me about that progression over the last few years.
No, yeah, I've been all my career. I've been in the spirit industry. I started at a very young age, as you know, and we ran into each other. I mean, in New York, almost over a decade ago. But before that, I mean, I was started in Texas with, the big brands, how we call them.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of learning. I mean, when you start working for those corporations, it's a school after school. I mean, you get to experience every single aspect from the marketing side, execution, innovation. So I felt very passionate about doing it. And we started, you start like checking boxes. Okay, I already learned this. I already learned that. So, and it's not something that is fast. I mean, it takes decades to master, but it gets to a point that you get to a position in your life to say like, yeah, now I see exactly what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And it's time to do something. And when you connect all the dots, and you're able to say, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is what you're going to ask people to do, and you know how to do it, it makes sense to do it at that point. Is that we don't have any missing points or anything that we can look later and say, well, this is going to be hard, or we're going to have to outsource that. For us, that was the direction. And that point, almost 7 years ago, we were like, let's go ahead and do it. We want to control. I knew exactly the direction. We sit down, we talk about this. Jen put a phenomenal business plan together, and we hit the route. And it's like, okay, what do we have to do first? What is second? What is third? Until the brands came along. So I mean, it's something that for me was natural.
Yeah. So why? I mean, so tell me a little bit about. I mean, we do Arte Agave. We're working with a lot of different tequila brands, mezcal brands. Tell me about the business itself. Like, I mean, I feel like there's a new tequila brand coming on the market every week.
I think there is. I think
There is.
there is.
There is every week there is a new brand coming along. But when I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm honest with you. I don't know to do anything else but what I do. I mean,
Yep.
I never have any other job outside the industry. So when I see all these brands coming in and out, I mean, it's just for me, it's noise. I mean,
Yep.
we're very focused on what we do, and we understand that, and we're just patient. I mean, and that's what you learn from corporations. They have all these strategies behind it, but they're competing against thousands of brands as well. And it's just being tactical and understanding the market. So for me, that's exactly what I did. Seeing all those brands and doing something that differentiate us from the major guys, because one of the main concerns that we have when we start the company is, okay, what are we going to do that is different that these corporations are
Right.
doing? or major brands, they're not corporations, are doing. Because if we do the same, we were not going to survive. So that's how we start the research. Okay, I know exactly how those guys operate. I know how much money they have, how they use it. What can I do to be different in a competitive market? Not so much from the consumer aspect, even no, it's more out of the operational aspect of it. What is going to give you that edge? And then consumers, when you set it up, are going to say like, wow, this is something different. And that's what we start doing when we start the company.
And like for us, a lot of the corporate brands are, they don't really have a soul. They're just created as another space on the shelf to make money. And all of our brands are very thoughtfully produced, from everything from pieces of the label, then the design, and tells a story. It tells our story. So it's kind of important for us to have something with meaning and not just another bottle on the shelf.
Yeah. Yeah. So how many, you have the tequila and then you have a gin as well?
Yeah, we have a gin. We're about to launch the mezcal.
Jeez.
So I mean, tequila is now, it's going to be 4 years in August when we launch it. And it started in New Jersey, then New York. And now we're expanding to other markets. And now in the next 6 weeks, I would say the third week of July, we're going to be launching our mezcal.
Here's the tequila. We actually are, this format is not out yet. This is the 375. It will be out October, November, and December. So we have the 3 variants of the tequila there.
Yeah. Wow. And we also have the mezcal. I'm going to show you the 7.5. And I'll tell you a little bit about what was the aspect of production, how we know that part where we say, this is what we want to do, because that's what is special. Consumer might see it, oh, it's 1 more bottles of mezcal, it's 1 more bottle of tequila. Tell me exactly what it makes you different. So this is the mezcal, and then the gin that we launched 6 months ago.
Whoa.
I mean, that we produce in Spain. So so we're building a portfolio of artisanal brands from either Spain, like Jen say, and from Mexico down. What it makes us different, that's what is, for us, is our passion. I mean, when we sell these companies, we say, okay, we're going to do things slightly different. I mean, corporations, they're always looking at their bottom line. They're looking at how efficient they can be their production. They're not looking into sustainability. Now I start hearing it. But 7 years ago, nobody talked about eco-friendly, sustainable, untouched, manipulated. That's now. But we started 7 years ago with the same concept. So that's exactly what we did. When we started the company, we wanted to control and be able to control our own destiny, right? So we have to become importers. So we became an importers in the US, and we said, okay, now we have the importers. So when we bring the product to the US, we can allocate it. We can put it in specific places without another company tell us exactly how we have to do it. Then when we have the importing company, because of my background, I already have ahead what I wanted to do on the profile. We start seeing the supermarkets and everything was going more towards sustainable products, certified organic, untouched and manipulated. Consumers start asking more questions then. And that's when I told you, and I said, listen, if we were going to do something, we have to disrupt. And in a way, and we were not the first one. There were other ones doing it. So, but we saw the amount of brands that were doing it were so small compared to the whole world of agave spirits that are there, tequila specifically. Then we start partnering with specific distilleries that have organic certification. And for me, that was a very exciting thing, because everybody say, oh, we're in touch, we don't do that, we don't do that, we don't put pesticides. That's great. But I mean, I want it to be certified. I want other organizations to tell us, oh, yes, you're following every regulation. And we didn't just do it in the US. We went ahead and also did it in Europe in a way that we say, okay, yes, we control the raw material. That was important for us. We don't use any pesticides on it when we grow the agave plant. Any type of fertilizer that we use is organic. Then on the process of production, I mean, nowadays you understand, I mean, what is the traditional method of production compared to industrial processes of production? We want to represent what Mexico have to do it, and with the step by step until we were able to launch the tequila to the market.
Wow. I mean, yeah, you guys got ahead of the trend. You started doing it right. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of brands now that wish they had some more traditional methods, or they're all scrambling to be sustainable now. They're all scrambling to.
There are some brands that say they're sustainable and craft that raises eyebrows based on the volumes that they produce.
And it took us a lot of time, because it's not just the liquid. The liquid, yes, we're traditional method, control raw material, certified organic. but also the whole packaging. I mean, that's what it took us a lot of time while we were waiting for our trademark for our brand. We were looking into suppliers that shared the same principles as we did. We wanted to use, recycled glass. I mean, how many in the landfills, how much glass is disposed. So all our bottles are made out of recycled bottles of Coca-Cola or soda in Mexico, and we make them in Mexico, in Zapopan. So, I mean, the cork that we use, I mean, we looking, okay, what are we going to use synthetic? We didn't want to use synthetic on our caps. So we were going to Spain a lot. We say, okay, who produced cork? Portugal and Spain. So we start researching, and we find a company that we're using. I mean, it's called Corcho Aglomerado, which is the leftover from the wineries.
Cork, I guess.
Yeah, it's the leftover from the wine companies or people that use natural cork. When they shave the cork tree, which they don't kill it. I mean, it has a leftover when they start punching the corks, right? That part through the company is we buy it, they granulate it, purify it, and then compress it. So we're upcycling the leftover from the cork manufacturer.
Wow.
And the cap is made out of wood. We look into what type of papers that we were using on the labels. So it goes in the whole method of production, not just one part of it to tell us, hey, you're eco-friendly,
And I think even as far as the companies we choose to work with, we like family-owned small businesses. So all of the companies that we have are first to third generation companies, privately owned by couples or whatever the case is. And that was important for us rather than going to like a big corporation just to make a pretty label, let's say.
Yeah.
And we took the time to go and meet them, right? We didn't go to an agency and say, please make me a tequila, like many celebrities do. Let me stamp my name on it. No.
A lot of people are doing that. Stamp their name on it.
I know every family.
And we're like, did you try your tequila before you?
Even if you did try.
Before you put your name on it?
So you can ask me who produced everything. I know the family who does it, how they do it. And I mean, I don't have middlemen when it comes into production.
So how did this come about? What were you guys doing before the company was started? What were you guys doing? Did you just both say, hey, we want to start a tequila business? Like, what was the conversations like? Like, Jen, were you working somewhere else and he pulled you in, or what was, how did this come about, this company, this business of yours?
So we're both in, corporate world. He was in the liquor and I'm in software engineering. And so I was doing my thing. He was doing his thing, originally in Texas. And actually in Texas, I was a teacher in a private school teaching computer science.
Wow. He
got an opportunity to move to the East Coast while we were dating. Long story short, I was like, no, I just met you. Bye. And he moved to the East Coast. We kind of did a long distance relationship. And about a year later, we were still talking. So I was like, okay, I'll move to the East Coast now. Cool. And that was kind of what we did for several years. We were happy in the East Coast, enjoying it and living our life.
Well, when you were on the west, how did you guys meet though? Then I guess let me ask that question.
We met in Texas when we both work in the liquor industry and was doing something else. So from Texas, I got the opportunity to work here. But what she doesn't say so much is that while I was working for these companies, she started like saving and buying some domains, and was many, many years before we even.
Because I'm kind of a dork. I'm like, I like that URL.
Yeah. So Drink Good Spirits, or Drink Good Tequila, all those domains, Jen bought them many years ago. And then that was part of the link they put our company together. But that was something that it didn't come out right away. Say, oh, we got the name. Let's go ahead and buy this, because nowadays you cannot find those domains. So she thought about it like maybe how many years ago?
2012. I bought maybe like 20 domains related to spirits. I thought they sounded cool. I didn't know what we were going to do with them, but I liked them. And I thought maybe it was going to be for clients that I find, because it builds websites. So I was like, maybe we'll get a tequila company and I will build their website and sell them this domain kind of thing.
So they stay around, and then when we decide to do that, she's going like, hey, I have few scenes hiding. And we decided, and I was like, wow, this is fantastic. So how scenes are meant to be when you plan ahead and you just take a chance,
So, I mean, I was kind of doing my own thing, slowly learning about the liquor world. And, Manuel was moving, he worked in the, agency side, the supplier. There was a period where he was kind of a partner in a different brand that we sold. And we came at this crossroad where either once he sold that brand, he could go back into corporate he couldn't figure out what, because he's done all of the things basically, besides being like an executive, right? In these corporate companies.
It gets to a point that you're overqualified for a lot of positions, and you get to a dead end. And that was, for me, that was the time that he says, so it's not something that I say, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. This is the reality. No, you're made an entrepreneur because of the options that you have and the opportunities that arise. And that was the case with me. The opportunity arose and we stepped it up and we kept going as us working for corporations at the time.
And we were lucky that, we were in a position where we could sustain our life with just one income while he built the brand and the company. So I want to make, that's a luxury that not everybody has. So we were lucky to do that. But it's one of those things where, as he was considering what to do, I told him, you're all in or you go back. You can't, do this on the side as a hobby. You need to quit and focus on that full time and get it off the ground.
Yeah, that means when we started, we were 100% self-funded. We fund everything ourselves, no money from the outside. Yes. So, and that was the big risk that
how scary is that?
Extremely scary.
To spend your life savings.
Selling a bunch of stuff and going like, okay, we're gonna buy. I already bought bottles. What else can we sell? What else can we do in order just to get the next step into?
So is that's how you funded it, with everything you had?
Yes, we went all in because that was. But we were not scared.
No,
because I don't know what else. I mean, I knew exactly the pieces how to put together. It's just that the part is how you were gonna finance those. So I mean, we were very mindful of our money for many years. So we had exactly, and the thing is, I mean, when you know how to do it, it's different when you hire somebody to do it because of cost. So I mean, everybody have to make a living, as you know. So
that's why lawyers are like one of our biggest expenses, because we don't know how to do legal stuff, so we have to budget for legal fees.
So what happened first, the marriage or the business? Who you guys got married and then?
Oh, way before. We got married in 2011. Met in 2009, salsa dancing in Dallas, and then. And then we got married. We were originally going to get married October 2010, but I felt like that was too soon. I like ones and zeros because computers, and so we did 11/11.
Whatever works.
So the business came many years after.
Many years after.
Yep. Gotcha. And so how's it going in the world of lots of tequilas and celebrity tequilas? How's everything going for you guys in the business?
It's fantastic. I mean, during the pandemic, a lot of people, we all suffer personally. We took that time to start, innovating, creating, thinking. Our company grew a lot during that time. It was difficult times for everyone, so we have to change a lot of the structure of the organizations. As you know, what we call on-premise or bars and restaurants were suffering. So we help as much as we can on the bars and restaurants, but we focus a lot into e-commerce and retail. So being agile that way, Jen coming from the software engineering background or e-commerce, we understood very well. And I knew everything about most of it about the liquor business. So the two together, we were fast. In weeks, we were changing all directions and organizing and already have a different detour plan of what was the main plan. And that happened, a year into the company or a year and a half. So we were extremely young as an organization. A lot of people, they say you build your brand in bars and restaurants and then you go to retail, but it takes you more than a year and a half to do it. But we were in a situation that there was no other option, like many other companies were there. Mm-hmm. And luckily, we did it fast enough where we actually grew during the pandemic time and we were able to keep innovating and sustaining exactly what we do.
Wow. And how did you continue? Like, was there a secret sauce during the pandemic that helped you to grow? Like, most companies, the big ones like really blew up because everyone knew their brand. They just bought them in liquor stores. A lot of small brands had lots of trouble. Like what made you guys to be successful and grow during the pandemic?
I think we iterate, and we're small enough where we can try things. If they don't work, we can try something else. We have really good relationships with different accounts, so they're able to experiment with us with their customers. And so the drink to go movement that happened during COVID was a big kind of impetus for, okay, how can we help as a spirit brand to help these on-premise places sell.
So it was a division between the two. As you know, New York, we got hit very hard, and in Jersey, but I mean, it was the same. So we partnered with the right bars and restaurants that were doing to go, and we put all our efforts in that one. We invest money, and a lot of them, we help a lot of people. We didn't do any changes. The first 2 months of the pandemic were catastrophic for any company. I mean, nothing moved. I mean,
April was like, oh boy.
Yeah, we went from a lot of growth to not selling one bottle, and then almost 2 months later, we saw one case coming. So it's alive. So I mean, we started, and from that one, we maximized everything that we did, and said, listen, we're gonna put an investment on it. We're not gonna let this go. We have. I mean, we have our industry that an industry. I mean, I'm not just a person that, oh yes, I'm gonna come out with, I have money, I'm gonna come out with a brand. No, I came as an industry person. So I knew that I have to stick with the industry and do everything that I could to make it happen. And a lot of us survived that way. I mean, sticking together and doing everything that you could.
Yeah, I mean, just even talking to you, your approach always seems to be looking, I mean, I could be wrong. It always seems to be looking forward. I mean, you guys are not worried about the money, you're not worried about the pandemic. You're just like, okay, this is what it is, and we're going to move forward. And the conversations I've had with other entrepreneurs, they did very well during the pandemic just because of that. Other people got scared. Other people just circled the wagons. Other people were like, blamed whoever. You guys just didn't seem to blame anyone, just kept innovating.
No, we have to. I mean, at that point, when you're 100 or 1,000% into something, there is no plan B. And we never have a plan B, at least in my career. I don't have a plan
B.
B
means you plan to fail. So we don't have a plan B.
Yeah. So you just adapt. And in the way that I described it back then, I said, listen, some of the big suppliers also struggle because you can see their numbers. And when you have, imagine an 18-wheeler to make a tight turn, it takes some time in calculations. When you're small, we're like a Lamborghini. We can, I mean, even though it goes straight, maybe not Lamborghini, more like a Porsche. You can actually make those movements, or even Tesla. Yeah, you can make those movements very fast and adjust immediately and keep going. So you stay relevant, and that was the whole point. It's just staying relevant.
That's awesome, and I love hearing that from small brands. And like, man, we both have worked for like large companies, and you see it. You're just like, oh, you have an idea. And it takes 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. And you're like, and then finally they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you the green light for that idea. And you're like, it's irrelevant now. That idea I had is irrelevant. It's gone. We should have did it 10 months ago. Now 4 other brands are already doing it. So it's cool to see you guys on the same page and just operating like that Porsche or that Tesla, just quick turns. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah. We're like cocktails to go. Okay, let's figure out how we can do that, how we can help, what we can produce for them.
With shipments were extremely difficult. It's just about how fast can you react and be good at what you're reacting, because you have to think extremely fast. If you wait to see who you can copy, that's when you lose. We didn't look at anybody. We went immediately. We saw the opportunity. We said, okay, we're gonna go ahead and do it. This is the plan. I got the team. I mean, we didn't follow anybody on the team. I mean, we kept going. And listen, if you stick to something, I mean, if you have something good to say or something good to give, I mean, you stay relevant, you stay alive. I mean, and you grow from that point. And pandemic for us make us very stronger.
Yeah, that's awesome. I hate the waiting to copy somebody thing. It's terrible. It's like, I've been working with brands, and they're like, well, everyone's doing this. I'm like, so let's do something else. Like, why?
Absolutely, yeah.
Why do that? So you guys, I mean, I don't know, you seem to have entrepreneurial DNA in both of your veins. What's the cause of that? Any inspiration? Did your family, your parents, uncles, aunts, where do you guys get that entrepreneurial spirit? I mean, from both of you.
Yeah, I mean, I think my parents are both immigrants to the country, and my dad was a mechanical engineer, and he started working the corporate world. And around 10 years old, he decided to open his own company. It was like a oil change company. and I worked there. I changed oil there, did state inspections, and
Wow.
learned how to run a company. And I really enjoyed the idea of employing other people and giving them a living and running a business. And that's kind of what started it never was an option. It was always going to be a thing that we started our own business.
For me, it was a little bit different. For me, it wasn't something like, oh, yes, I mean, no, for me was when you stick too long doing something and the doors, I mean, you get to a point that you cannot grow anymore and you start hitting the wall many times and you get like, well, why should I keep going the same direction? Why not just go ahead and do your own stuff? And during that time, everybody called you crazy. Oh man, how are you going to do that? Everybody underestimate what your capabilities are. And for me, that made me stronger. I mean, it's a combination, entrepreneurship is a combination of frustration, proud, anger, all combined together that make you drive. Because as an entrepreneur, everybody's saying no to you. It's a no. You live in eternal no's. It's how you overcome the no's, how you jump through it, and how you don't have to prove anyone. How do you prove yourself that you did it? Then, I mean, at the beginning, people question you. Then at the end, they go like, yeah, I can see that. Yeah. After I went through all the hoops, since the perception starts changing on people.
I think the biggest barrier is risk tolerance. And I'm a big risk taker. And, Manuel is very conservative for the most part. And so getting him on board with like, let's just do it.
Yeah, it's a balance. Otherwise, imagine.
Yeah. So where does that risk taking come from, Jen? Do you know? You always had it? Were you with a
I think I was just born with it. I would ride my bike as a kid and, without hands. And the consequence was less important, I guess, than just the enjoyment when I was a kid. And I think in life, it's just, why not? Let's try.
For Jen, I mean, a lot for Jen is like, listen, it's just money. We can make money all the time. It doesn't matter from which angle. So for me, I was like, okay, I know we can make money, but we have to think about this a little bit more and say, we plan it right. And then we pressure each other. So we challenge each other when it comes into growth and innovation. At this point in the organization, at the beginning, kind of like, like when you're going to jump in a pool, you're like, should I? I mean, I don't know how deep it is. Or even in the ocean, let's put it even more complex, because I think that's what it is. It's a big oceans of brands and you're jumping on it. So, and you always question it. But after that, you challenge each other. And that's the beauty of it. I mean, she's always challenged me of how can we be better professionals, I do the same to her and even to our team that is so important in the organization.
Yeah. And I think I feel like it's hard to learn that, like what you have, Jen, that like not worry about the consequences, but I think I heard a quote. It's like, there's two types of people. There's someone who sees the things someone that sees the things they want, and someone sees the things that prohibits them from getting what they want. You seem to be the person that's like, I know what I want, and that's what I'm going to go for. You don't even see the difficulties.
I really believe in that like mindset that if it sounds corny, but I think that's what's kind of motivated me in my life is if you want it, you'll get it. It's like the song, I guess. There's a song by what's her name? I want it, I got it. It's just put your mind to it.
Ariana Grande.
Yeah, Ariana Grande. It's kind of.
I've got two little girls at home. Yep, I know.
I was like, what song?
No, you don't know. You need 10-year-old.
And I think it's really, you can't be afraid of failing. You should be afraid of not trying, and that's always my motto.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep asking you this. Like, is this just something you had? Did it really come from your parents? Were you reading books about it? Were you listening to Tony Robbins tapes? Like, where did you get this?
I mean, I believe in learning from other people's mistakes. So having good mentors, asking questions, being a lifelong learner. So I do read books about different things that I feel I don't know enough about, but I can't know everything.
But the thing is, we also have to be very clear. It's not something that, you can have that mentality. You have to be able to back it up with knowledge. Right. I mean, we didn't do this, just going into 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. We're talking about almost 2 decades that I was on it. So it was natural. We just don't want to give the message that, if you put your mind to it, doing something like this, it doesn't matter if you don't know, you will get it done. No, you have to. It's talent, it's knowledge, it's risk, it's having the financial stability to do it and the longevity to hold it. That's the other part. I mean, that you have to be able to achieve.
Yeah. Yeah. Any of those books you would recommend? Anything on the top of your head that you would
There's
recommend?
the one that you always mention that you read also, the old one, which I think is a really good. I always forget the name. I haven't read it, but
Spin.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
Spin.
that's college, very old college book.
Spin?
Spin sales techniques. I mean, it's super old now. It's not in another aspect. It's not relevant, but it's usually. I mean, and that's when it comes into selling. I mean, how can you sell something without selling something? So, and my team, they have heard me talk about that book. I mean, at the beginning, because what you do is, how can you talk to people to believe into what you're doing? Because we didn't come with all bunch of millions of dollars is to say, okay, I'm going to hire everyone. You have to be able to convey the message and create that affinity with you and that excitement and people to trust you. And that's the part when you build a company. If you don't, if people cannot trust you, you're never going to be successful. And that's why, I mean, it was a lot of talking. It was a lot of, execution. It was saying that it was more than words too. I mean, you can talk and sell it, but then you have to be able to deliver. So, and that's what we are not now, because I mean, whatever we say, we're always proud to say, I mean, it's going to happen. And that started from our team all the way to our clients and the people that are on board on the company with us. And that integrity, that's what, I mean, you have a lot of weight and a lot of how people got the reputation that you have.
Yeah. And so do you guys, I mean, do you have any business partners now? I mean, now that you're
Yes,
growing?
yes,
Now we do.
Yes,
We're all grown up now.
It gets to a point that you need to learn more. And like Jen say, we don't know everything. I mean, we know specific markets and creating the part of the brand. But a year and a half ago now, we brought a partner. He actually helped us when it comes into the growth of the global expansion and understanding. He's a top CEO, many business under his belt. And for us, I mean, it was a search. I mean, it's not a combination. Yes, we were not looking just for money because, as you know, money is easy to find when you have something good. We were looking for knowledge.
Yeah.
And that was, we brought him on board. He's being great. And that's when you see all this growth and everything that we're doing more, because you always need help. This is not a business of two people. It's a business of a whole organization working with others.
And I think that was a really important lesson as entrepreneurs starting a business and looking for the right partner, is identifying what the gaps are in our skills and our business needs, and then finding the right partner that fills that, because it was the least important thing was money when we were thinking about what we needed.
And you have to be humble as well, because a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of founders, they feel like I know everything. And that's the problem. That's not my mentality. Is I want to keep learning. Who can I bring on board that I can learn from that person? And you learn every day. I learn every experience, even working with distributors, with my team. I learn from my own team. I'm going like, wow, this is great. So I like to listen. I always like to listen. I mean, I don't underestimate anyone, and I treat everybody equally. And for me, that's been a great tool for me to use, because it's my personality, first of all. But it gives me so much learning of every aspect of what's going on outside, instead of being in one box and saying, this is the way we're doing it because it's my way or the highway. It doesn't work with me. So that's why we stay relevant.
Yeah. And that, I mean, you see so many brands that are declining, but they don't change. They don't innovate. They don't listen. They're like, well, I don't understand social media, so I'm not even going to do it. And then you see them fall by the wayside because they're stuck in their ways.
Yeah, the hardest part is, and we mentioned it, is recognizing as a business owner your own blind spots and having people there to help you. Because sometimes you are like, well, this is my product, so my opinion is right. And that it's not always the case.
And that's the beauty. You always have to see is how can you feed it. And with Aldez Tequila, that was when we started with the first brand. It was exactly how can we position it? How can we make sense to the consumer? No coming from the major corporations, which I knew exactly how to spend their money, and I did it for so many years. How can you do this in a way that is meaningful and you can create long-term partnerships? And that's exactly we started with the tequila. Then the opportunity came, and we started traveling to Spain. And when it came to gin, I asked Jen, "Wow, Jen, I mean, we can do something special." And let me backtrack on this one, because this is a great story, and it's something related to our trademark. If you notice, our brands is called Aczualdez and Aldez Tequila. Our last name is Aczualdez.
Yep.
When we're getting our trademark, I mean, we applied for one. We wait 8 months, like you say, and then we got denied by the USPTO in the United States. And that was devastating for us because we invest all this money and we couldn't even get to market because we didn't have a name. Took me months.
And the reason, just for background, for tequila, in order to actually even be able to produce it, you have to have a trademark. So that was like a hard block.
They won't produce for you. So they say no to our trademark. We start searching. It's like, oh my God, what name? Was open books and everything. And then just walk by one afternoon that you saw my boredness and frustrations. They said, why do you don't call it Aldez? And I'm going like, well, I know where you're coming from, but it's not about us. It's about, the tradition. Who are we going to represent? In this case was Mexico and tequila. And then she goes like, but think about it. I mean, Aldez is 2 syllables. See all those brands, they have 2 syllables. People can remember them. So Aldez Tequila. And then with time, we start going to Spain. And she, at the same time, she trademarked Aczu. So she trademarked both for half, split the last name in half, Aczu and Aldez.
Because I was like, why not? If it was so hard and we lost the first trademark, let's try to, lock in another name, whatever it will be.
We didn't know what it was for. That was, years prior. And then we started traveling to Spain and fell in love with Spain so much. And we said like, wow, this is great. What does Spain have to offer? At the beginning, we want to take tequila to Spain. And back then it was like, wow, they're only drinking regular tequilas. It will be very hard to take an ultra premium here. And we start seeing the Spaniards culture. What they were doing, what they were eating. And they were drinking a lot of gin.
Yep.
And then I look at Jen. Jen one time said like, hey, listen, if you like so much everything about Spain and the culture, why don't we make a gin? And then we went like Aczualdez. And we said like, oh, so we went and did the Aczualdez.
I wish we could have recorded that moment where we were like, Aksu could be like Aksu vodka, Aksu whiskey, Aksu gin.
Oxygen. And we were like, but then came another problem. How to make gin. Because we knew tequila so much. And what I told Jen at that point is that, listen, if we can do gin, we can actually prove ourselves that we just not just tequila producers in a way, or commercialized tequila brands, because the distilleries produce your profile, but you're not distilling. So with gin was a great challenge that it took a lot of years from us. It took exactly 3.5 years. It took so much time that we got even investments into the distilleries in Spain.
Wow.
So, creating the profile, and that's how Access started.
Wow. Again, I love it that you're just like, you went for the product and then you're like, oh shit, we need to figure out how to make gin. Like,
what's gin again?
And in the brand, finally, listen, we started almost at the same time. If you see now 4 years selling, we just launched the gin last July, and we have multiple awards. We're going to say here an announcement in the next few weeks of what we won globally.
Cool.
We're selling in Spain. We're in phenomenal places, and in New York, we're spending now with national distributors with all the portfolio. So in a way now, when we tried in New York and people love our gin, now we said like, man, we have something great going on. Now we're not just tequila, we're gin. And later on, we say, okay, let's go to the mezcal, and the difficulties to produce mezcal, mainly from the legality aspects in Mexico. Finally did it. We got some samples on board. We start trying the mezcal in some of our good friends that runs great bars in New York and in New Jersey, and the guys love it and going like, wow, my God, we want to establish as an authority when it comes into artisanal products, because we want to convey that message. Through the distill, is trying the culture of a country, of a Spanish country. And that's the mission of Drink Good Spirits.
But I gotta say, like, the gin and the mezcal were so gratifying, because tequila is one ingredient. And because it's certified organic, we're kind of limited in what we can do with the flavor profile. But the gin is 100% our preference, really. Yeah. And to have people really enjoy it and tell us how great it is, or one of the best gins, and getting similar feedback for the mezcal is just like
Yeah.
The best thing you could ask for. You know?
So now we have more responsibility. I mean, and that's the responsibility goes to our clients and also to our team. I mean, I would say we were never going to come up with something that we don't feel strongly about. And if I have to wait, like I did 3.5 years to launch a new category, a new brand, I would do it in whatever time. And if it's not ready and I do the investment, I would never release it, because that would take a lot of that magic part of our team, because our team is super excited because like, oh my God, I see other brands. I don't know how people sell it. I bet it's so difficult. And for us, it's just presenting it. And so the problems that then you have is how you spend, because I mean, you have the bandwidth that you have is so much. And that's when now you're going to start seeing us going with some great distributors across the US.
Yeah. How long's that mezcal been out for?
It hasn't come
Not
out
yet.
yet.
It hasn't come out
This
yet.
is the first bottle. A lot of people have
Jeez.
seen the pictures on
Yeah,
it.
this one it'll be out in September.
No. It's going to be out in the second week in July.
You see, sales,
Sales.
marketing.
September. Oh my God.
She's like, I need more time. I need more time.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we're going to market today.
Yeah. And what we did all the mezcal, we wanted to be traditional. So we're doing an artisanal mezcal, and we launching in the market with an ensemble. There is a blend of 3 amazing mezcales. Espadín we're using as a base. We use Tobala, but we're using Jabalí, which is a very rare mezcal that was very hard to find. But we also said like, okay, I've seen what is in the market. I have to do something that people are gonna go like, man, that's so crazy how you do something like that. But it's what's bringing the best flavor profiles for those 3 beautiful agaves. And now you're going to start seeing some mezcal, a lot of mezcals coming out as an ensemble, because nowadays everybody went to single varieties.
Yeah.
So when we work in any brands, we want to say, okay, how can we make a difference? How can we keep portraying and how can we keep educating people on such amazing categories that we work on? And that's the idea behind it. And we did everything from scratch when it comes into the mezcal. So usually when you talk about blends, and I walk you through that part because a lot of producers don't speak about this, is that you have 3 different distilled single agave blends, and then you do a blend. And then you say, okay, this is what we did it, the way we did the percentages of it. I didn't want to do it like that. So when I was talking to my producers in Mexico, I said, like, listen, guys, how it tastes if you cook all those agaves since the beginning? And they look at me and go like, that's very risky, but it's gonna taste good. But whatever comes out, you're buying it all. I said, because I mean, that's that they cannot sell that anymore to anyone with the blend.
Right, it's yours.
You can blend.
You break it, you bought it.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I talked to the team. I said to Jen and the team, and I'm going like, go for it. I said like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do it. I said, yeah, do it. What is to lose? I said like, a lot of money. And then I called the team in Mexico and going like, guys, let's go ahead and do it from scratch. We're all in. I know I trust in you. You make phenomenal mezcal at the Palenque. Let's go ahead and do something different. And we did it that way. So it's an ensemble on hot instead of cold blend. So, and that's what is, I don't know how many out there. I did a lot of research. I didn't find that many, but it's no way to know exactly. Somebody can say they are, but we have all the pictures, the way that we cook it and the way that we did every aspect of it.
That's cool. So you've seen, I mean, from working with your big brands, decades ago, tell me your thoughts on how's the American palate been? I mean, I know my age, we grew up on certain tequilas, went to college. No one liked tequila. I hate it. Gave me a headache. Obviously, the consumer started to change here in America. What have you seen over the last 10 years? Are people, give me your feedback on where we were and how it's going today with the American palate on tequila and mezcal?
Well, let's go almost 20 back. I mean, in my early 20s, I was working in Dallas, and then I ended up working in El Paso and McAllen. During that time, I mean, there was only one brand. Everybody knows that huge brand that everybody have those memories when they drink it. And I was selling an ultra premium brand that was just getting started, and I couldn't give it away. And it was very hard because they always went back to that brand and said, oh, no, just send me that one. Everybody knows that. Even though everybody regretted next morning, that's what it is. And little by little, people, I mean, the big companies did an amazing job spending the money. And that's what sometimes people don't give credit to deserve. If it wasn't from the big major suppliers spending millions and millions years after year, we didn't have the opportunity to come to market. So they did all that legwork, and I was part of that team that did it. 10 years went by. I ended up working and coming to the Mid-Atlantic and eventually to New York. So that was a big change for me because I started thinking, my God, I came from a little town from Dallas, selling in McAllen, selling in El Paso, selling in Dallas, which is, Texas. Come on, they drink tequila. And then ended up educating consumers on tequila, specifically from New Jersey all the way to New York, and presenting in these amazing places with major groups. I mean, it feels great to be part of that history. And that history is not just me. I mean, tequila have evolved so much in the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years that you can talk to people and going like, yeah, I remember back in the day when it used to be a product, the drink of the people. Nothing like a nice bottle of wine that you put on the table. It's kind of like the bottle you put under the table and pull it out for shots. So that's a long trajectory that we have done, and we're all part of it. I mean, the U.S. consumer is the most important consumer when it comes into tequila. So saying how it been in tequila, I mean, I feel strongly enough to say that U.S. play the biggest role into the growth of tequila in the world because we consume the majority of it.
I think from an outsider from the liquor world, what I've noticed as a consumer is and seeing that people are more educated about the production process. They're more familiar with what a gnome is and where to find information about brands. They call brands more by name now.
Right.
And I think that they're just more educated and opinionated, which is a good thing. They know what they like more nowadays.
Yeah, tequila, as you know, become the third biggest category. I mean, vodka, whiskey, tequila, and then rum. I think those are the last information that I saw. But now they're saying that it might surpass even American whiskey, which it blew my mind. I mean, not in a million years, I was thinking when I started in this business, working on this category that was misunderstood, going and say like, oh yeah, we might be the second biggest category in the US when you combine tequila or agave distills against any other category.
Yeah, that's amazing. When we started Arte Agave 10 years ago, I couldn't beg people to come to my event.
I wasn't your first event. Your first event.
I know you are. I know. And it was just like half the people in that event were free tickets. I was like, just come. We did a whiskey event that year and we sold out like 500 tickets. And I was like, oh my God, this agave stuff is tough. I didn't make money for 3 years. And yeah, so
how is now, Walter? I mean, how long it take to sell? Because I mean,
we're good now. Now, I mean, I mentioned I have brands that call me now and like, hey, I want to be part. It's cool for us. We have a name that people know and they respect. So we do get recommended a lot. So people are like, hey, I heard about your show. I want to be part of it. But the ticket sales are great. I mean, there are people that have been coming for 6 and 7 years. But I think, to your point, they're more knowledgeable on where it's from. They're more knowledgeable about stuff. Even when I was bartending 10, 11 years ago, people were like, what's a reposado? You know what I mean? Now that's like old news. Now people want to know what the different mezcals there are. But like 10 years ago, they really had no idea what an aged anything was in tequila. They just knew their 3, 4, 5 brands. But I knew about 10 years ago, there was a lot of conversation around it. They were asking all those questions about this brand, that brand, what else is there? So I knew the consumer mindset was changing. Did I think it'd be going through the roof as it is today? Not really, but I knew it would be expanding. But it's exciting. It's exciting to be in this category together and see all these American consumers not just consume it, but appreciate it as well.
No, and a lot of things that happen is also thanks to people like you that believe in the category since the beginning, put all these events behind it. 3 years without losing money or not making money is a lot of years to put behind and going through. So, I mean, we're part of this growth together. I mean, all these brands, amazing brands out, from corporations to small craft producers. This is what makes the drinks work. I mean, it wasn't the work on only one brand. It was a group of a country together with many corporations and many families producing it, et cetera, and it's paying off. Everybody's excited about agave, and we're doing our job. Some better than other, but anyway, we're all part of this mix.
It's a little bit like, I think it's going to be like Groundhog Day for Manuel, because the education and the growth and knowledge that the U.S. consumers have on tequilas and mezcals and specifically, other parts of the world are behind.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, as we're launching into Europe, it's reliving those McAllen days and or the
McAllen,
Texas days.
The old days. No, that was selling whiskey. Yeah. No, those days. I mean, yeah, and the more we travel around the world, the more we see the opportunity for tequila and mezcal, but now with a different approach. Now, I mean, EU or all Europe now is open to that. Australia, Asia. I mean, they're booming. It's still very segmented. I mean, it's a specific niche, but that's the way they started here. So that ignite that interest around the world, and that's why Mexico now is so popular on everything. I mean, from the culinary to the best parts of the world to I mean, the best tequilas, agave still. Now it's tequila, mezcal, bacanora, sotol, raicilla. I mean, you name it. I mean, the agave still. There are many now to choose from. So this category is going to keep getting better and better.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, listen, I appreciate you guys sharing your story. I would ask you what's next for you guys, but you have the gin, the mezcal is coming out. However, I do see some animals running around in the background. I don't see any kids or anything. Is there any kids?
No kids. Those are our kids.
Okay.
We have two hairless cats. One is called Harry. The other one is Apollo. And then we have a regular cat and a Chihuahua named Tequila.
Yeah. Tequila is almost 16 years old. So you can see that I named a long time ago.
He's the OG tequila.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So where can before I let you go, where can people find you guys? Instagram, website? Can they purchase everything online?
drinkgoodtequila.com will take us to our website, the same Drink Good Gin. You can find our product online. You can buy it on our site. We're also available and market as in Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Florida, California, Colorado. We're launching into DC, Maryland in the next few weeks. We're in Texas available. That's why we have the opportunity to be in many cities with you. And we're so excited to see you in person and to keep doing what we do. So yes, and please, if you like our brands or would like to learn more, follow us on Instagram. I mean, at Aldez Tequila and then Oxygen and Aldez Mezcal. Very soon you're gonna be able to see it as well. So
you can follow Aldez Mezcal. There are no posts yet, but that's okay.
But we engage. I mean, when you type something on our social media, you either talking to Jen or somebody or myself, and we always know exactly. And we're very active with our team. You can talk directly to us there.
Very, very cool. Listen, I appreciate this. And I thank you for the support. I mean, for a decade of being part of Arte Agave and then, of course, with Aldez now. So I'm excited that you guys are going to be with Arte Agave in many different cities. And it was really cool talking to you guys, getting to know your story. And I love it. I love the no nonsense. Let's go. Let's figure it out attitude. It's really, really cool.
Looking forward to it.
Well, listen, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And enjoy your afternoon.
Excellent. You too.